It happened. It happened. The LA Clippers got a backup big and then some, making a solid amount of noise at the trade deadline. Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, John Wall out the door in this episode. Going to be talking about all the moves, what they mean for the Clippers, and at the end, saying our goodbyes, our heartfelt goodbyes, to two players that have shortly become fan favorites on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are indeed locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, in my 18th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod, and of course, subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for more Clipper, LA sports, and NBA content. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Okay. Locked On Clippers is free and available on all podcasting platforms, including YouTube. And comment on today's pin question: what grade would you give the Clippers at the trade deadline? Because, oh man, in this episode, going to be talking about the moves in order. Mason Plumlee, then Eric Gordon. Will be joined by a good, diehard Rockets fan, Will, from the Brado and Will show, to come talk about Eric Gordon and how he still is as a player. And then going to be finishing it off with busy Bones Hyland and saying my heartfelt goodbyes to Reggie and Luke Kennard. Let's start out with the one biggest move, the biggest need the Clippers needed. Everybody's debating, is it a point guard? Is it a backup big? I've been saying all season it's a backup big, because when Ivica Zubac goes to the bench, the Clippers' small ball lineups of Rocco at the 5, Nico at the 5, they don't always work out the way they were intended to work out before the season. You need some added assurance. And in potential series against guys like Nikola Jokic, series that we are getting beat up on the inside, beat up on the glass, we needed some assurance. And man, oh man, the Clippers went out and got assurance all right. And throughout the last couple of months and before the season even started, I threw out a bunch of names like Hassan Whiteside, Dwight Howard, all these guys off the buyout market. And we ended up getting a better player by far than all those. Mason Plumlee, the center from the Charlotte Hornets, their starting center, coming over to Los Angeles, to the Clippers. If you recall, Mason Plumlee started out his career in Brooklyn, then had some of his best years, in my opinion, his best years with Portland, most notably in 2016, starting in all 82 games, including the playoffs against our Clippers, and was very good in that series in which the Blazers beat us. And in that playoffs, he averaged 7 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now, I know what you're thinking. That was 7 years ago. But he has been pretty good after that as well. He was Jokic's backup for a couple of seasons, 2017, 2018, 2019. Spent more years in Denver than I remember. 4 years in Denver. And he was their backup center in the bubble. 7 points, 5 rebounds he averaged there. Spent 1 year in Detroit in 2021 that I honestly forgot about. And this season, he's actually averaging a career high in points and in rebounds. He's having a career year right now. 12 points and 10 rebounds on 67% shooting from the field, to go along with, he's not even averaging a block a game, so we'll keep an eye on that. But also 4 assists. That is basically Ivica Zubac's numbers coming off the bench now for the Clippers. I mean, this is going to be amazing. I've always been a fan of Mason Plumlee's game. I think he's a really good role-playing center, and I think he's a solid starting center. But as a backup, oh my goodness. This guy can rebound. He plays hard. He defends. I remember him being a good defender. I don't know how good of a shot blocker he still is or how good of a defender he still is, but I remember him being strong and having good instincts. And he's more athletic than people realize. This guy competed in the dunk contest when he was a rookie. So he is not some unathletic white guy. I am so ecstatic about this move. This move is a small move, but it's going to make the Clippers better. Now Ty Lue has assurance off the bench, and a good player at that, who's got passing probably even better than Isaiah Hartenstein, who the Clippers ran a lot of actions off of last season with him catching the ball at the nail and guys cutting off of him, catching it at the foul line, high post area, and everybody cutting off of him. I think we'll be able to see some of those similar kind of sets with Mason Plumlee. So absolute huge win. Who goes out the door? Reggie Jackson. Now, let me just say this. I've been wanting Reggie Jackson to be traded for a while. On the last episode, I said it after the Mavericks game. I think Reggie and Senior should go. Now, Senior did not end up going. He is still on the team and probably will remain on the team for the rest of the season. And you know what? Do I prefer it? Not really, but I'm fine with it because I do like Marcus Morris and he still has size. It's sad to see Reggie go because my wish was for Reggie, if you've been listening to Locked On Clippers this season, my wish was for Reggie to just accept the fact that, you know what, I'm not going to get playing time much and I'm going to just ride it out and try to be a good team player and win the championship. But naturally, you know, he wants to play. He wants to be a part of the experience. And when he was subbed out of the starting lineup and then missed a couple games, like they DNP'd him a couple games, from what I heard, his attitude completely changed. I heard he wasn't talking to media guys, local media at that. And his whole demeanor changed. So, you know, for all the credit we give Reggie Jackson's attitude and stuff like that, he didn't really, like, for example, Robert Covington has been getting slighted all season by Ty Lue. He's gotten a bunch of DNPs and such. And he's kind of kept a great attitude, stays on the bench, clapping, being enthusiastic, even though he probably in his mind of minds deserves to be playing, thinks he deserves to be playing. Reggie Jackson, he couldn't really do it. He got sad that he got taken out of the starting lineup and whatnot. And John Wall wasn't happy with his minutes either. He probably thought he should be starting. And the fact that I'm talking about John Wall brings me to my next one. Eric Gordon, also traded to the Clippers. Eric Gordon back where he started and coming up. Going to be joined by Will from the Brado and Will Show from Houston, Texas, to give us everything on how Eric Gordon still is at the play as a player. But overall, Mason Plumlee, what a win on this one. It's sad to see Reggie Jackson go, more for sentimental reasons. I think it's going to be such addition by subtraction because I've been saying that Reggie hasn't been good this season. And now Ty Lue can't just play him over guys that deserve to be played more. And I'm very happy about that. Addition by subtraction in that aspect. And I will be giving Reggie his flowers at the end. But coming up, going to be joined by Will to talk about Eric Gordon, or as Ralph Lalla used to call him, EJ. But before we do that, we got to talk about Rocket Money. And this year, Rocket Money is big time. Try it free for 30 days. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Do you know how much your subscriptions cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions, when the actual total is closer to $200. And if you don't know exactly how much you're spending every month, then you need Rocket Money. Over 80% of people have subscriptions that they forgot about, like that streaming service you bought to watch just one show on, but you never forgot to delete it or unsubscribe. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. Welcome back. Joining us for this segment, the Clippers went out and brought back a former Clipper, somebody that we drafted in 2008. He had some really good years with the Houston Rockets, and joining me now is a die-hard Rockets fan. He has a big following on Twitter, and he co-hosts the Brado and Will Show from Houston, Texas. Will, thanks for joining me, man, to talk about Eric getting traded to us.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to it.
So let me ask you this, man. Simply to start, how good is Eric Gordon still? We had a game against you guys this season at the Staples Center where he was, I think, your leading scorer, and he was balling, but I thought it was a little weird because you guys are a young, like, rebuilding team, and Eric Gordon's kind of like getting the shots late in the game. Like, it's still his team, and he's not really a long-term part of it. Is that why the trade was made more than how good he was?
Oh, yeah. The trade for Eric Gordon has nothing to do with him not being good at basketball anymore. Eric Gordon's still a really good basketball player. He's not as good as he was, during our Harden, Chris Paul years where he was winning sixth man of the year. But he's still a really good basketball player. Like, just to kind of contextualize that, I think we've won like 2 games in the last 2 seasons that Eric Gordon hasn't played in. So that should tell you kind of the type of job he's been doing as a member of our team, and kind of I don't want to say carrying our team, but just kind of more so stabilizing it, and how much we haven't really been able to how much we miss him when he's not on the court. So like I said, I think a lot of why Eric Gordon got traded was just because it was time for him to go compete for a championship. And then we want to allocate some more minutes for our young guys. But no, you guys got a really good basketball player.
I've seen a lot of your tweets about you wanting to trade him really badly. How come you wanted to trade him really badly? Just to give your young guys more minutes?
Yeah, like it was Eric Gordon's time in Houston, in my opinion, has been I don't want to say like long overdue, as in I don't like the guy, because no, I love Eric Gordon. He'll go down as a Rockets legend in my eyes. I said it, today. His clutch 3 in Game 5 of the 2018 Western Conference Finals is the closest thing I've gotten to experiencing somewhat of a title run in my life as a Rockets fan. So like I love Eric Gordon, but I feel like it was his time to go. Like I said, I felt like it was time for him to go compete for a championship. He's expressed to the front office a couple of times now that he wanted the ability to go compete for a championship. So when I was, I wanted to see him have that opportunity. And like I said, I wanted those minutes to go towards guys who were going to be here long term, right? We have guys like KJ Martin and Tariq and Jay Tate, guys who play the wing position, outside of our number 3 overall pick, Jabari Smith, but guys like that who kind of play the same position as Eric Gordon. And it was like, okay, well, we have an opportunity to send this guy somewhere where he can win, receive a real asset for him, and then use it to build for the future. And on top of that, we get to open up some more minutes for guys who we hope are going to be here for the future to get.
What did you guys get out of the trade? Everything was happening so fast. I don't even remember what you guys got.
So
John Wall, right?
John Wall and a pick swap, which for us is like, I know that's like, it's the pick swap, but like for us, that's a pretty big thing. We swapped Milwaukee's first round pick for y'all's pick this year, or we have the option to do so, which we're probably going to do. Which for us is like really good, because Milwaukee's pick is currently sitting at pick 28. When the Clippers pick is currently sitting at pick 18. So, I that's all I really wanted out of Eric Gordon trade.
I hope that pick ends up being like 20 something, so because our record gets better at the end of the season. But John Wall is going to be bought out. If he hasn't happened already, no, he's going to get bought out.
No, he hasn't. I don't think it's happened yet, but he's going to be.
So let me just ask a couple more specifics about Eric. How good is he still doing 2 things everyone's talking about: getting to the basket and then defending? Because, I'm looking at his shooting splits, and they're a little down from last year. 44% from the field, 35% from 3, which isn't bad, isn't terrible. But what can he still get to the rim a little bit and defend?
Absolutely. He can still get to the rim. That's probably one of Eric's like best assets right now, is his ability to get to the rim. I think we're going to miss the most from him outside of his spacing. It's his ability to attack the basket. He's really strong, so he can finish through contact.
Oh yeah.
He's the type of guy who, when he puts his head down, he's gonna find his way to the rim. So you guys are definitely gonna get that from him. And then defense for Eric Gordon has always just been effort based, right? Like I believe entirely that he can still be a plus defender for you guys come playoff time. I think that this season we saw his effort kind of wane on the defensive end, but I think that's a lot of that was because there are moments you could see where he was very visibly frustrated on the court, and I think it had less to do with like that the product, and like I think Eric Gordon just wanted to be traded. So like I think when he wasn't really as invested in the team, his effort wasn't there at all times. But I think he's in LA now. He's been playing with 2 superstars in Kawhi and PG. And there's expectations to win a championship. I think he's going to buy him with the defensive end over there when he does. So like you guys still have a really good defender in Eric Gordon as well.
That's, man, the biggest thing you said that made me so happy, and the Clipper fans are going to love hearing, is you said that he can still get to the rim with ease. That's the biggest issue with our team. The biggest issue with our team.
If you, I know you guys are Clippers fans, and we're the Rockets. We don't play too entertaining of basketball, but watch like his last game. Yesterday we played the Sacramento Kings. He was getting to the rim with ease yesterday. Like the Kings couldn't do nothing about it. So like, yeah, that's one of, if not his best asset on offense, is finding a way to get to the rim.
Everybody commenting to me about that. Did you see the mistakes he made at the end of the game? I said, "No, man, I was at the game last night."
Yeah. He his last one was as a Houston Rocket is him costing us a game. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm not mad at Eric Gordon for it.
So last thing, as far as his game, What are the negatives to Eric Gordon right now?
I mean, he's just really solid at his role. I mean, I can't, he's not going to be a 20-point per game scorer, but I think he'll give you guys like 12, 13 points. I think it's going to be efficient. He's going to space the floor for you. Like I said, I think he's going to be a plus defender. The only real downside, I think, to Eric Gordon is the fact that he's getting up there in age. So, he may not be able to stick around, for your contending years much longer. This might be one of his close to his last couple of years,
I mean, he's on an expiring contract, so we'll see what we want to do. It's a perfect chance to just test him, though, to me, for the rest of the season, see how he does.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think for what role you want him to have, I think he's as good as you're going to get, right? I don't think that, like I said, I'm not saying he's a perfect player, but like I said, his effort I think is going to be a lot better on the Clippers. I expect I think his efficiency is going to go up because he's going to be playing with guys who can set him up a little bit better, and he's not out there trying to coach a bunch of 19, 20-year-olds. He's playing with guys who know the game of basketball, so I think its efficiency is going to go up as well. So I don't want to make it make him like he's a perfect player. He's not, but I can't really think of any holes in Eric Gordon's game for what you guys are going to ask him to do.
Yeah, it's great to hear. I mean, you're definitely going to get easier looks playing with Kawhi and Paul George as opposed to a bunch of up-and-coming young guys.
Yeah.
But my last question is this. Eric Gordon is a former Clipper. He started out with us. He was my favorite Clipper for 2 years, and then he was traded for Chris Paul. For me, that was very bittersweet because even though I was so happy we were getting Chris Paul, it was really sad to see Eric Gordon go. There's a lot of Clipper fans that really grew attached to Luke Kennard. I could say I was kind of one of them, but I understood the situation. They think that, Luke Kennard's younger. He's really good off the ball, may not take as many bad shots. What would you tell those people that are sad to see Luke Kennard go and are saying Eric Gordon's old? It's not the same Eric Gordon we once had, all that.
Well, one, I mean, isn't Luke Kennard under contract past this year?
He has I want to say I don't want to say it's a really bad deal. It's not a great deal. I think Luke Kennard is still a really good player though, but he's owed like $16 million next year.
Yeah, and I would say I think one of the biggest pluses is you're getting off of a contract that that's I don't know what your cap space this offseason looks like, but I mean you're getting off of a contract. I'm not saying it's a bad contract, but Eric Gordon's expiring, so that's always good to have. And I think that Gordon, while Kennard's probably a better shooter, Gordon's for sure a better ball, and that's one I didn't touch on is that he's someone you can put the ball in Gordon's hands. We ran him at point guard a lot these last couple of seasons. He's really versatile, can play. He probably shouldn't be your starting point guard, but he can run, backup point guard. Obviously, he's really great at shooting guard role. That's the role we had him in, and then he's like I said, strong enough to play the small forward. There was a couple. We played Jaw. He was guarding Paul George.
I was saying that today. That he wasn't getting bodied by him, whereas Kennard gets weight roomed a lot.
Yeah. I would say so. You're getting an upgrade in defense for sure with Eric Gordon, and you're getting somebody else so you can safely put the ball in their hands. And if Eric Gordon's he's not a great playmaker. He's not the real cerebral floor general out there. But you can trust Eric Gordon to make the right play, and make the right read, and get guys to their spot. So you're trading, like I said, that superior shooting for I think better defense, better ball handling. Eric Gordon's still a pretty good shooter in his own right.
Hey man, that was really good stuff. It's very obvious that you watch all your games and have passion for it and know what he's doing. So let people know where they can find you, man. We always love showing love to authentic fans of their teams, especially locally.
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, at Bias Houston. He shouted out earlier. I have a podcast I run with Brado. It's called the Brado and Will Show. We cover the Rockets every week. So, you can find me over there. And, thank you for having the show.
Anytime, man. And coming up, Clipper Nation, going to be talking about the first trade that was made today for the Clips, Busy Bones Hyland. What do we think of him?
This year, the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the #1 sportsbook in America, FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now so you can bet Super Bowl 57, Chiefs-Eagles this Sunday with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line at point spreads to who will score a touchdown.
This weekend, I think it's such a toss-up that I do not know who to bet for the game. But if you're more of a football expert than me, go ahead and place those bets. And do it on FanDuel because the FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/LockedOn to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So let's close it out, and there's one last move to get to, and that's Busy Bones Hyland. And coming to the Clippers for 2 second-round picks. And mind you, the Clippers did get those second-round picks with the Luke Kennard deal. So let me just say it's very sad to see Luke Kennard go out the door, but I guess I'll save my exit speeches for them at the end. But Bones Hyland is a really interesting one because he had a situation in Denver this season, and I tried to get a Denver Nuggets fan to come on this show to talk about it, but it was such short notice, nobody could do it. But I read up as much as I could, and here's the thing about Bones Hyland. So what I knew about him was last year he was a rookie, and I watched every Nuggets game in the playoffs, and in Game 4 of the playoffs, the Nuggets won. A huge reason they won was because Bones Hyland was going nuclear in the first half. Like, straight up, this guy, and it's funny because I'm pretty sure one Locked On Clippers fan in the comments has been saying, I want Bones Hyland. So whoever said that in the comments, shout out to you. You got your wish. Bones Hyland is now a member of the Clippers. Second-year player, still on his rookie deal, and this guy is a talent. He has a great handle, can shoot from the parking lot, super modern kind of player. And that's part of why the Nuggets shipped him out, is because they already have their defensive concerns. Their two best players aren't the best defenders. You could even argue if you whatever you consider Michael Porter, not the best defender either, even though I think he's improving. So when Bones Hyland and Jamal Murray would share the court together, they didn't really mesh. Jamal Murray and Jokic tend to be staggered. So when Jokic is out of the game, Jamal Murray will handle the rock. But then when Bones Hyland's in the second unit with Jamal Murray, it got a little bit problematic, I heard. And, apparently Bones Hyland's friends were like in Murray's DMs or comments on social media, like talking trash. Like, it was a whole ordeal. And Bones Hyland apparently was not happy with his role in Denver, not happy with what he was asked to do. And that's what concerns me, is that he was a second-year point guard. Mind you, they moved off of Monty Morris and allowed Bones Hyland, gave him the keys to being the backup point guard for Jamal Murray on a championship contending team, a number 1 seed, and that wasn't enough for him. And now he's coming to a team that's also trying to be a championship contender. So the fact of the matter is, with any championship contender, if you don't affect the game when you're not making shots, you're not going to play much. And that's exactly why Reggie Jackson got traded. So the fact that we brought in a younger, more talented kind of Reggie Jackson, Bones Hyland, who doesn't really have a great basketball IQ right now from what I've heard, takes reckless shots, and I can absolutely see it, makes me a little confused. But the one thing that we got with Bones Hyland was we got younger. We got somebody who's a younger Reggie Jackson with upside, and he's way better off the bounce. He is quick off the bounce dribble. He's got juice. He will get the Staples Center crowd roaring if he gets a chance. And I think he will get a chance, because why else would he be traded here? So let's just take a look at Bones Hyland's numbers this season. They're improved from his rookie season, but his shooting percentages aren't very good. 40% from the field, which is not good for today's game. 38% from three, however, and 86.6% from the line. So in today's NBA, where they use true shooting percentage as a better metric of everything encompassed, he's shooting 54% true shooting, which is only -3 behind league average. So that's not terrible. That's not terrible. He's also just like, my concern is this for the Clippers. We have 3 guys now that are 6-men kind of energizer scorers. Eric Gordon, Norm Powell, and Bones Hyland. Is that too much of the same thing? They all score in slightly different ways, but I guess in Norman Powell and Eric Gordon's case, not really. They both have that strong shoulder where they can get to the rim and they can hit threes and just can go out for double-digit scoring every night. Bones Hyland is a guy that can come off the bench and heat it up in a jiffy. So I hope they don't get in each other's way, and I think that's another challenge for Ty Lue to manage. Does Norm Powell start now? And you bring Terrence Mann off the bench, so you have more defense around Eric Gordon and Bones Hyland. So now the problem is this, with the Clippers making all these trades, even though I like this trade, I like Bones Hyland, and I'm really excited to have him, I don't know how many minutes he's going to get, because if he's not making shots and he's not defending, those guys, as I've been saying all season with Reggie, they're not, and Senior, they don't play much in playoff basketball. So he's got to be prepared for that and have a good attitude about it. And I know Jamal Murray was like subtweeting him and stuff about, you can't complain about not getting something if you didn't put the work in. And that was apparently directed towards Bones Hyland. So we'll see. Hopefully he's not problematic, but I'm excited to have him. And it's going to be super exciting to watch him play because he's a fun player, straight up off, the park, like NBA street level type. So very excited about the young lad. Very excited about the young lad from VCU. And also, I just want to say, in the month of November, he averaged was it December? Yeah, in the month of November, he averaged 17.6 points a game on 44% shooting from three. So he's had some good moments this season. It's just it didn't work out in Denver, and it is what it is. And now he finds himself in LA. So Bones Hyland, excited to see it. As for the rotation, now Ty Lue still has 11 good players. You just took out John Wall and Reggie Jackson and Luke Kennard and replaced them with Mason Plumlee, Bones Hyland, and Eric Gordon. So you still have 11 good players. Where does that leave Rocco? I don't know. So based on who's playing, how many guys should Ty Lue play a night? I truly don't know. But if I had to pick two that are going to get left out if everyone's healthy, probably Bones Hyland and Robert Covington. But in terms of rotations, I think we might have to talk about that in another episode. And it's not even going to be the one after the Bucks game because the Clippers are going to not have any of these guys for the Bucks game and also not have Kawhi Leonard, who's out with knee management, load management. But at the same time, he's not on a back-to-back, so I'm not sure if it's another flare-up. And that really concerns me because I've been saying all month that we don't have any back-to-backs in February, so they should play every single game. And the fact that they're not playing this game after we just lost to the Bucks after leading by 21 in Milwaukee, it's really concerning. I don't know if we're going to get the win, and I just hope Kawhi's okay because we can't afford for setbacks at this point. And it also makes me concerned for the playoffs. Can this guy even potentially play 20-plus games in a row without sitting out one? Because in the playoffs, there's no back-to-backs. There's also no load management or no room for that. It's the playoffs. And there's no room for extra rest. Sometimes you're going to have a packed schedule. But anyway, let's end it out with this. Clippers let John Wall go. We knew that was coming. He went to Houston, and I'm very sad about that. He's going to be bought out. I want to say all the best to John Wall. It didn't work out for him in LA. I think the front office made a mistake. They acknowledged they made a mistake by giving him up midseason. It just didn't work out. He was never really happy. He didn't like coming off the bench. I think he expected to start alongside Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And a lot of, fans on Clippers social media and stuff, and Clipper fans have wanted John Wall to start alongside Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and just see what it looked like. And it just didn't work out for him. He just wasn't that good anymore. And we'll see where he lands. I wish him the best, and I hope he finds a spot that he likes. As for the other two, it's much harder to say goodbye because they were on the curse breaker team. That 2020-2021 Western Conference Finals Clipper team is always going to hold a special place in everyone's heart. They broke the curse that seemingly we could not break to get out of that second round, and Reggie Jackson and Luke Kennard were big parts of that, especially Reggie Jackson. So I'm going to start with Luke Kennard. I'm really sad to see him go. The reason he was gone is because, let's be honest, John Wall's addition made it so that Luke Kennard's minutes weren't guaranteed anymore. This is a guy who was traded for Landry Shamet, and I'm not going to lie, I was sad about that because I had an emotional attachment to Shamet. And I didn't know how good Luke Kennard was. And within a couple of weeks, I saw he was better than Shamet. He was a better shooter. He could actually play off the bounce a little bit, could play making pick and roll here and there. And the only thing with Luke was that first season, Ty Lue would sit him out every time he hesitated to take a shot. It was like, I don't want you hesitating, Luke. You need to shoot every time you get an open look. Sub him out in the middle of practice for that, be disciplined with him. And then Luke, started to find his groove. It took him a while to get consistent minutes, but he started to find his groove towards the second half of the season. But that being said, he wasn't even getting consistent minutes in the playoffs in 2021. He played in Game 1 against Utah where he was really good. Game 7 against Dallas, he was really good. And then he slowed down in the conference finals. But he was still important to that run. In my opinion, everybody in that 2021 rotation, even guys like Rondo and Boogie Cousins, they served their purpose for their games that we needed them. And Luke Kennard did that as well. And then last season is really the highlight with Kennard. He was just awesome. Totally consistent. Shot 45% from three. Had some insane games. And I had the pleasure of being at so many of them. 23 games, the most I've ever been in a single season. I took vlogs on my channel for 22 of them. And one of them, Luke Kennard against Houston, just went nuclear, shooting shots in the parking lot. And last season, his confidence was just so much higher than the first year. And you could even see the playmaking in pick and roll when Bledsoe got traded. He, Terrence Mann, and Amir Coffey would switch off and stuff. And the only reason it didn't work out for him with the Clippers is, I think the Clippers wanted to move off the contract as well. He had $16 million guaranteed next year. So that's a big reason why we moved off the contract, because Eric Gordon's on an expiring deal, so it gives us more flexibility. But Luke Kennard, with John Wall coming, that made it so that he didn't know how many minutes he was going to get. And it gave him DNPs. He's had that calf injury he's been struggling with. And even though he's actually having a pretty good season, 45% from three, those 3-guard lineups have made him look worse defensively. And when he's not shooting well and he's not playing great defense because he's not out there with great lineups, Ty Lue subs him out. And he's totally, the last couple of games, lost his confidence as he came back from this last calf injury. And I think Ty Lue made a mistake. You need to give a shooter like that consistent minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, no matter what, because he's always going to have games where he doesn't shoot well. But Kennard, when he's playing consistently and not injured, he is consistent. He really is. So Memphis, they got a great player here to come off the bench. Like, I'm really sad that we're not going to get Luke Kennard in his best years. I'm really sad. I really thought he was going to be a Clipper for a long time, and the fans loved him. And speaking of the guy that the fans loved, Reggie Jackson. I have to make this as heartfelt as I can. I really went longer. If you want to hear me really give my thank you to Reggie Jackson, please go to Dime Dropper and watch what I said about him, because we got a little time limit here. But Reggie Jackson, I don't think anybody switched their perception more in their time as a Clipper than Reggie. He came in the middle of the 2020 season, and I didn't think we needed him at all. People were saying we needed a backup point guard. But Lou Williams was running the backup point guard for us and doing a good job of it. And Reggie Jackson just felt weird. And I remember in the bubble, he was doing things that I got mad at him for now. Taking bad shots. I'm just like, who is this guy? Like, who does he think he is? And I wanted him gone after we lost in the bubble. But they re-signed him because he's Paul George's friend for a 1-year contract. And I was like, oh my God. But he won me over, and he won everyone over like I did never believe. When Patrick Beverley got hurt a lot in that 2021 season, and Reggie Jackson was inserted into the starting lineup, mind you, after Ty Lue had benched him when he was coming off the bench early in the season for being, making bad decisions. And he took off with Kawhi and Paul in that starting lineup. Catch and shoot Reggie was born, and we saw Reggie Jackson that stuck to his role, was shooting 40+% from deep, and made a game winner in his return to Detroit. It was a special moment. And he took that rhythm into the playoffs and was just beyond words, beyond comprehension, how good he was in the playoff run that made history for us. And I went to every single game of that playoff run. I was one of the people that did the first Reggie chants, if not maybe the first person to actually belt it out in Game 7 against the Mavericks, because we didn't have fans that whole season. Reggie Jackson's whole first season with the Clippers, we did not have fans at Staples Center. So that started in the playoffs. And I just remember how magical it was, and seeing Reggie Jackson cry after we got eliminated, not knowing his future, if he would come back, and what the Clippers did for his confidence that year, what the fans, the organization, his teammates did for his confidence. I'll never forget that moment. And from that moment on, it just showed how much Reggie Jackson cared. And throughout these 3 years that he's been a Clipper, Reggie Jackson cares more about the fans and respected and showed love to the fans more than any Clipper I'd ever seen in my 18 years as a fan. An absolute class human being, and just a guy that we're going to miss so much. The Reggie chants, the defense, not the defense, the Reggie chants, the clutch shots, the dancing. That's what I meant with the D word. I didn't mean defense. The dancing, and just his ability to make shots when you least expect it. I've never had a player where I was like, no, what kind of shot is that? Oh my God, he made it. I've never had a player on my team or on the Clippers like that, as much as that made those kind of shots more than Reg. I'm going to miss him so much. It was time to go. He's going to get bought out by Charlotte, so who knows where he'll land. But Reggie Jackson will always be such an important member of Clipper Nation, such an important member of Clipper history, because of not only the chants and how much the fans rallied around him, but being part of that 2021 run. And then last year would have been nothing without Reggie Jackson. Paul George missed 51 games. Kawhi missed the whole season. We don't win 42 games without Reggie Jackson. A game winner against Orlando that I was at the game for. A game winner against the Lakers where he was famously skipping up the court. We are going to miss you so much, Reggie. Thanks for making Locked On Clippers your first listen today. Now make your second listen game-to-game NBA. Every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game-to-Game covers every game from across the NBA with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game-to-Game Locked On. Follow Game-to-Game on Locked On NBA, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Overall, the Clippers got better. They had a great trade deadline. There's no doubt about that in my mind. I can't wait to see Bones. I can't wait to welcome Eric back with open arms. And at the end of the day, I love Luke Kennard, but I don't like him as much as I liked Eric Gordon. Are you kidding me? Eric Gordon was a great Clipper, and I was a fan for all of it. So I know a lot of fans don't feel that same way because you've not been a fan as long as me, and you don't have the same emotional attachment to Eric that you do with Luke Kennard. But this man was a great Clipper, and I was devastated. Bittersweet. I was happy to get Chris Paul, but I was so sad to see Eric go. He was awesome. I have great memories going to games with Eric, and I'm going to see him again very soon. And the one I'm most excited for, Mason Plumlee. Luke Kennard, you will be missed so much. I hope you do the absolute best in Memphis. And Reggie, I don't know what else to say, but I think it's only fitting I just end it like this. Reggie, 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 Reggie. The age-old proverb continues. Go New Look Clippers.